Hey everyone. So in this video, I have a few reports that revolve around the World Cup. The first one's out of Foxborough, and it seems like the city and FIFA are in a bit of a discrepancy in who's going to pay for the taxes and security. You would have thought that they would have this sorted out by now. I mean, the World Cup's not too far away. What, 4 months from now? 5 months? I also have another video out of Europe, and there's actually talk about teams boycotting the World Cup. Will it happen? I don't know. But if it does, I will be so happy. I also have another report that talks about the Iran women's football team, where some of the players are now seeking asylum in Australia because they refuse to sing the national anthem at the game. So I'll talk about this later on in this video. The backdrop for today's video came from Jim, who posted it on the Hey Cafe website, the social media website that I've been talking about. This photo is from Loch Katrine, Nova Scotia. And from what I can tell, I think that looks like a maple leaf chair. That's kind of cool. So thanks for posting this on the Hey Cafe website, Jim. And for anyone else on the Hey Cafe website now, feel free to post your pictures in the Guard the Leaf community. Now, before I get started, a lot of you are sending me other petitions from the R Commons website that we should bring our attention to. Now, the problem that I have is that my descriptions are starting to get a little bit too long. So I'm trying to figure out a way to, collate them all together. So then that way, everybody has a big, giant list of the petitions that we should be focusing on. So I'm thinking about maybe using like Linktree or something like that. But let me get this sorted out first. And then what I'll do is once I get that all fixed up, I'll let everybody know where they can view all of the petitions that I'm featuring on my channel. Okay, let's get started with the first report.
First at 5:30 tonight, Gillette Stadium's World Cup matches could be at risk. We have been following this fight over funding involving the town of Foxborough. The town is refusing to issue the entertainment license that is required to host the game. Good evening, I'm Emily Voles.
And I'm Dan Jennigan. We were at a very tense meeting last night at 11 o'clock where there's still some confusion. NBC 10's Nicole Mader is trying to get some answers for us. She's live at Gillette. Nicole?
Those FIFA World Cup matches are 100 days away, and Foxborough town leaders are withholding those licenses over concerns that the town could get stuck with millions of dollars in security costs.
Now, I'm not a football fan. I mean, I'm a hockey fan. I'll watch it if it's on, but I'm not religious about it. But I've lost all respect for the FIFA organization. After they gave the orange idiot that stupid FIFA Peace Prize. I mean, look how ridiculous this looks. So when I heard this about the city of Foxborough, I wasn't surprised, because you're dealing with an organization that is just as corrupt as the orange guy.
With a March 17th deadline fast approaching, the future of those games are questionable. No resolution in sight about who will pay the $7.8 million in World Cup security costs. Foxborough town leaders said the Boston 2026 host committee still hasn't given firm, upfront funding guarantees.
They are concerned that the taxpayers are going to end up getting stuck with the bill. Is that like a legitimate concern? Are they legitimate?
I think it's very, very legitimate on their part.
Andrew Zimbalis, an economics professor at Smith College, says World Cup games don't actually generate that much revenue for local cities and towns, and then requires host cities to front the bill for services like security, transportation, and sanitation.
So the city is taking on tens of millions of dollars of potential expenses. The city has to find the source of financing. It could be public money. It could be taxpayer money that does it.
And it's going to be a little bit difficult.
So let's take a poll here. Who do you think is going to be fronting the bill for everything that's outstanding right now? Is it going to be the town of Foxborough, or is it going to be FIFA? My guess is that it's going to be the citizens. Let me know in the comments below what you think.
For this little town here to be paying a large amount of money.
Security is the largest expense.
Normally, for these types of events, the event is considered an international security event, and the Department of Homeland Security does a lot of the financing for it.
But the department isn't being funded by Congress right now, and the president hasn't promised resources for the World Cup. Foxborough residents say they're not game to pay.
I believe the taxpayers shouldn't pay for it.
The city of Foxborough should not be paying for FIFA.
And preparations are already underway at Gillette.
So if the orange guy hasn't provided funding yet, he's not going to do it. I mean, he's got other things to deal with, like, the Middle East. But he'll probably definitely show up and take credit for everything that's going on, while you guys get the bill. But I have been wondering about something. Let's say, for example, Foxborough doesn't host the games anymore. Where are the games that were supposed to be there going to be relocated to? Is it going to be relocated to Canada, Mexico, or somewhere else in the United States? What's going to happen to the people that have tickets already? It just sounds like a logistical nightmare, if you ask me.
Zimbalist says they could come to an agreement.
Each of the three parties will end up having to pay more than they had originally said they were willing to pay.
But if they don't,
it's conceivable that they won't come to an agreement and there won't be World Cup games in Foxborough.
there are 13 days until that March 17th deadline. So FIFA, the Boston 2026 host committee, and the Crafts have until then to provide upfront financial guarantees. If the board doesn't see a concrete funding plan for that $7.8 million, they'll deny the licenses, and those 7 World Cup matches, they'll need to find a new stadium to play in.
Now, this report is about 6 years old. No, not 6 years, 6 days old. And I have yet to see anything online to say that there has been a resolution to this. But who knows, maybe they'll do something last minute. And then what'll happen is that the orange guy will take credit for it as well. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this situation. Now, I want to move on to this next report out of Europe. And it sounds like there's some serious consideration to have some of the teams actually boycott the World Cup. I would love it if they did. Let's take a look.
Could Europe really drive a World Cup boycott?
Or from a moral point of view, like, I don't think we should be there. I think it's going to be probably a horrible World Cup.
More than 130,000 have signed Toyn van der Kerken's boycott petition, which calls on the Dutch government to withdraw the national team from the World Cup. Talk of a boycott is gaining traction in Europe in response to Donald Trump's US administration.
This boycott idea is now popular also amongst football fans.
Now, I know football is very popular in Europe, actually around the world. I mean, it's the most, I think it's the most popular sport in the world. I mean, I think it's only Canada and US that call it soccer. But from what I know, football fans live and die for their team, and they will travel wherever their team is. So the fact that they're actually saying now, the actual fans are saying that they will not go to the United States tells me 2 things. 1, they're not putting football in front of their country or what's going on right now. And 2, they're probably also scared for their safety as well. So I'm really glad to hear this from the Europeans saying that they're not going to go.
Von seiner Propagandashow WM bliebe ohne uns nicht so viel übrig.
People are getting a bit fed up with the weak position of that politicians in Europe take.
The main concerns are over human rights and foreign policy, especially the ongoing debate over Greenland.
All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland.
It is one of the last tools in the toolbox that you should take up. But I will be honest and say, yes, if that should happen, then a boycott discussion is very, very relevant.
Back to the toolbox comment. The boycott is one of the most powerful tools that we have. And to be honest, it is the backbone of my channel. I've been trying to make sure that everybody knows that even if it's $1 or $2 or $5,000, every penny that the United States doesn't get is going to affect them. Now, when it comes to the World Cup, we already know that in July of this year, flights from Europe over to the United States are already down compared to last year. And you would think with the World Cup this year, those that are planning to go would have already booked their flights, their hotels, got their visas done and everything. But the fact that the flights are down, that's the first clue that I think the World Cup is going to be in trouble. Now, YouTube has this new feature. I can put polls out now. So I think it's going to be in the description of the channel. But I'm going to leave a poll. Do you think the World Cup is going to be a bust? Yes or no? Let me know your answers in the poll.
Europe's biggest football nations have been wary to take a stance. Germany's FA did not reply to a DW request for comment.
If only the Netherlands wouldn't go, Trump wouldn't care. But if these countries unite and say we won't go, then that would be very bad for Trump, for his reputation, and also for Infantino.
Now, having fans boycott the World Cup is one thing, but having teams, that's a whole nother level. My guess, I don't think any teams are going to boycott the World Cup. But fans, I think that's already starting. So I guess we have about 3 or 4 months to see how this plays out. Now, the last thing football related that I want to talk about. Australia has granted asylum to 5 Iranian soccer players labeled as traitors. Now, before I start, I saw in my previous comments when I did a video on Iran that many people were saying that I was pronouncing it wrong, and that it's pronounced Iran, not Iran. Well, I'm here to take responsibility for that. And I'm quickly learning that there's a lot of vocabulary that I'm using that I guess it's the US way to do it, not the Canadian way or international way. I mean, I'm still getting used to saying route, not route. I don't know how that happened. But one thing I do know is that I did watch a lot of US entertainment, like TV shows and movies and whatever else, even sporting events. So if you catch me saying anything else, call me out on it, leave a message, but be nice about it. All right, let's get started with this report.
Iran's women's soccer team refusing to sing Iran's national anthem at the Women's Asian Cup, seen as an act of defiance against the country's regime. The team arrived in host country Australia just before the outbreak of war in the Middle East. Backlash was swift, with the presenter on Iranian state media branding them wartime traitors, spurring fears of persecution. Then, growing calls for their protection.
Australians have been moved by the plight of these brave women. They're safe here and they should feel at home here.
The Australian government granting humanitarian visas to 5 of the players who requested help.
Now, I might be way over my head on this one, but just in my opinion, if your life is in danger, then you have every right to seek asylum. Now, my question is, are they seeking asylum now because of everything that's going on, or would they have done it anyways before? But the report explains that it might not be as easy as they thought it was.
U.S. President Donald Trump had been putting pressure on Australia, making his own offer of asylum.
President Trump rang me this morning just before 2 a.m. We had a very positive discussion.
Albanese says planning had been underway in the days before, and asylum is also being offered to the remaining members of the team.
These athletes have now become, if not a cause célèbre, they're certainly political pawns.
Human rights advocate and retired Australian soccer player Craig Foster says even though the players have been given the choice to defect, it may not be an easy decision.
These are always complex situations because of families back home. Some of the players have children and the like. So even if they feel unsafe and would prefer to stay in Australia, they may not be able to.
This Iranian-Canadian journalist sought asylum in Canada after receiving death threats over a cartoon mocking a regime leader.
Iran is supposed to be sending its national football team to the World Cup, but I'm not sure if the regime is comfortable with that.
He says this act of defiance could have more repercussions as the FIFA World Cup approaches.
So even though they're granted asylum, it's going to be a very tough decision for them. And I'm pretty sure they have family back home. And for me at least, if I was in their shoes, I don't know how I would feel being safe in Australia with my family still suffering back home. But back to the FIFA World Cup. If the Iranian team actually still goes, are we going to have this situation again where they're going to seek asylum? Who knows? So my guess over the next couple months, we're going to hear more information coming out about the World Cup. Whether it's like stadium stuff or like travel or even teams boycotting or even European fans boycotting. Regardless, we're going to hear more news about that. And we're going to hear more news about the Middle East situation as well. But we're probably not going to hear more news about the Epstein stuff. I'm pretty sure the orange guy doesn't want us talking about it. Okay, that's all I got for this video. And again, if you're looking for the co-host or you're trying to see if you can spot her, she's been here. She's on my desk. Surprisingly, just sitting here watching me edit this video. So if you or your cats were hoping to hear her in this video, sorry, you're going to have to wait for the next one. If you found any value or agree with anything I said in this video, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below so you're notified of my videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are coming up on your screen soon. Thanks everyone, I'll see you in the next one.